Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell calls on regional colleagues to close the gap between the curriculum taught in schools and the skills needed for the job market during CXC's ministerial summit. We'll have details of this story and more in the national report.
Prepare for hurricane. Prepare for hurricane. Make sure you have your radio and your batteries too. Waterproof flashlight candles will do. Tin stuff, garbage bag, first aid kit. Come on people, make sure you have it. Clean water in a container and a hurricane plan. Hear me no man.
Hurricane damage is beyond your control. Surviving the aftermath is up to you. Have a hurricane plan. It can save your life and your family too.
Prepare for hurricane. Your hair, prepare for hurricane.
Welcome back. With the details to the news for Friday, November 11th, 2022, I am Sherry-Ann Noel. Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell calls for urgent intervention from regional counterparts to close the gap between the curriculum taught in schools and the skills needed for the job market. This call was made during his keynote address at the CXC Ministerial Summit 2022 at the Radisson Grenada Beach Resort on Friday. The summit was held under the theme Flexible Learning, Credentialing and Assessment. Annette Moore has more in this report.
The theme for the summit is Flexible Learning, Credentialing and Assessment. Delivering welcoming remarks, Sir Hilary Beckles noted the systemic crisis faced by the Caribbean islands in the COVID-19 period. He says the summit provides a forum where ministers, their staff, and the CXC can meet continually to review and assess the data and be more effective as a collective.
Our fear at the moment, colleagues, is that we in the Caribbean, in fact, I should say we in the English-speaking Caribbean, we have the lowest enrollment in higher education among our young people in the entire hemisphere. So if you take our hemisphere from Alaska in the north to Argentina in the south, and you collect your data on the percentage of young people under the age of 30 in higher education, professional development, skills training, the English-speaking Caribbean is at the bottom of the pile. This is a tragic situation. No country can prosper and experience civility without an education revolution. It is not possible. It is not possible. We all know that a country's potential for economic growth is an expression of the percentage of its population that has received higher education.
In his remarks, CXC's Deputy Registrar and Executive Officer, Dr. Wayne Wesley, stressed the importance of Caribbean unity and the impact of the Council on regional development through education. He also says CXC has embarked on a transformative path.
We are rethinking our qualification management framework that will help to put us at world and international levels. We are reimagining our assessment and recognition framework, which will begin to validate national programs to ensure that our students and our learners benefit from regional recognition and qualification.
Minister for Education, Youth, Sports and Culture in Grenada, Senator the Honorable David Andrew, gave remarks and introduced the keynote speaker. He noted the timeliness of the summit's theme and recognized CXC's gains in the area of credentialing. Grenada's Education Minister commended CXC for the changes that have come with the transition to the CPEA and the introduction of e-testing, which he says is evidence of CXC's transformative agenda. He posed one question for further examination.
That question is, for our consideration, to what extent does a well-credentialed product of our current system reflect the ideal Caribbean person?
Grenada's 9th Prime Minister, the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, in delivering his keynote address, explored many issues, including the educational skills gap.
A fundamental issue that our region must confront with a matter of urgency is the gap that exists between the curriculum taught in schools and the skills required for the job market and the development of member states. In the case of Grenada, to address this disconnect, my new administration has embarked on a transformative agenda that seeks to shift the way in which we think about education and certification in the traditional sense, placing emphasis on the importance and significance of vocational skills in our society.
The Prime Minister highlighted the achievements of Grenada's New Life organization, otherwise known as NULO, which is a vocational school proficient in the teaching of many TVET skills over the years. He notes that countries must intentionally decide to teach non-traditional vocational skills such as fishing and new areas like coding. Honorable Mitchell advised that students should also be taught skills like critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and leadership, and be allowed to offer solutions to the challenges the Caribbean faces. He identified the need for more industry validation of curriculum components and a refocusing of education on member states' ocean space, which he says is much larger than the collective land space. The Prime Minister also stressed the importance of self-sufficiency and sustainability.
My administration has prioritized education infrastructure, technological capacity, and education financing. These priority areas will seek to strengthen systems that support blended learning modalities in schools and will include training for teachers and administrators. Advancements in robotics and artificial intelligence and other trending and rapidly advancing technologies will continue to have a profound impact on the skills that our young people will need to succeed at work, at home, and in the global community. Such skills now provide additional options to our citizens through remote work. The question then is, how can CXC pivot to become more viable in light of these rapid technological advancements?
The Grenadian Prime Minister put forward some recommendations for CXC.
CXC's Learning Hub can be enhanced in partnership with other organizations, enabling greater and easier access to digital content. The extra regional sale of CXC's products and other revenue generation initiatives may also prove worthy of exploration.
Prime Minister Mitchell says the government of Grenada looks forward to collaborating with CXC in seeking to assist all students, regardless of age, to achieve their full potential. For the National Report, I'm Annette Moore.
Thank you, Annette. Moving along, signatures were affixed on Thursday to the $17.2 million OECS Regional Tourism Competitiveness Project contract document between the Government of Grenada and the joint venture of Kichana Limited, Sunrise Construction Inc. and JVC for infrastructural works on the restoration of Fort George. The signing was held at the Ministry of Tourism Conference Room at the Ministerial Complex. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Infrastructure and Physical Development, Public Utilities, Civil Aviation and Transportation, Michael Stephen, signed on behalf of the government, while Desmond John of Sunrise Construction signed on behalf of the joint ventures that includes Kichana Limited, out of Trinidad, and JVC Inc. Permanent Secretary Stephen says the rehabilitation of Fort George is a significant step towards enhancing one of the country's main tourism attraction sites in the Tongue of St. George.
This project is extremely important, as I have mentioned before. It's valued at some $17.2 million, and it's supposed to have a duration of 18 months, I believe. Right? It's going to impact significantly the tourism product and also the general population in general. So I want to congratulate the joint venture between Sunrise Construction and Chanona of Trinidad for being awarded this contract, and we look forward to them executing the project according to the specifications and designs and within time and within budget.
Speaking on behalf of the Joint Ventures Group, Desmond John of Sunrise Construction says his team has been studying the document for the past 2 years and as a result understands the responsibility, the details and the challenges that may arise in executing the job.
I can say publicly that we are well prepared and aware and we are conscious of what the challenges are and we have put systems in place to deal with it. One of the requirements was to have a relationship with a restoration company. So we actually built a tripartite relationship between Kitchener from Trinidad, Sunrise Construction from Grenada, and CPEC from Argentina, who was specialized in restoration and have restoration history as part of their pre-qualification. They have all visited Grenada. We have looked at the site. We have developed our schedules and our programs. And I can promise the nation that we are well poised to deliver a successful project within time and on budget.
The project is broken up into 5 components to allow for a phased approach to the restoration process and allow for the relocation of offices that are housed at the RGPF headquarters. Luke Brathwaite, quantity surveyor with Sunrise Construction Inc., explains.
The demolition and removal of modern interventions or aspects or features on the fort that were not or would not have been there from the conception or the initial construction of the fort, the consolidation and recovery of the main walls or the stone walls that form the perimeter of the fort, the rehabilitation and new construction of buildings on the fort. There are a number of key buildings that form not of just historical value but of also cultural value, with more modern history in Grenada's development. Urban planning, so that would be the construction of walkways and embankments and new utilities development, which would be modern features which will be hidden within the fort to give it some sort of modern for communication and so.
The restoration works at Fort George is expected to be completed in 18 months. This is the National Report. The news will continue after the break.
The Grenadian General Insurance Half Marathon and 10K Road Race is on Sunday, November 13th. This race starts at 2 p.m., beginning at Current Junction, St. David, and going to the Karani James Athletic Stadium. There are prizes for the top 10 male and female finishers in the half marathon, top 5 finishers in the 10K, prizes for the oldest finisher, youngest finisher, and the school, club, or organization with the most finishers. Transportation will be provided. Register at grenadaaccess.com. Registration closes Saturday, 12th November. The Grenadian General Insurance Half Marathon and 10K Road Race is on.
Following the signing of the Fort George Rehabilitation Project, Minister for Mobilization, Implementation and Transformation, Honorable Andy Williams, along with members of the Royal Grenada Police Force, visited Fort Frederick, where some of the offices attached to the police headquarters will be located. The relocation is necessary to allow infrastructural work being done at the current headquarters on Fort George under the OECS Regional Tourism Competitiveness Project. According to Minister Williams, the project will be completed within schedule.
The visit at the Fort George today was to really see what progress was made with the contractor. Now, this is part of a project of an 18-month project, which we have compressed to complete in 10 months. So the contractor had 3 months to finish this building here so that the RGPF could house their operations here. And meaning the storeroom part of it, meaning the jug squad part of it, and also the tailor shop. And in meeting with the contractor, I gave him a month and a half to complete what was supposed to be completed in 3 months' time. And his deadline was this week, and I'm happy to say that the building was completed. And I want to just say thank you to Mr. Nivelle Matthew, who was the contractor, and all his staff for ensuring that this was done on time.
Honorable Williams said once the relocation is completed, work at Fort George will commence.
Now, this is just part one of the project. We have to move also the admin building on Fort George, right? And that will be done later. But for now, the tailor shop, the storeroom, and the drug squad, once it's removed from there, then construction can start at the Fort George.
GIS spoke with officer in charge of administration at the police headquarters, Superintendent Randy Carnott.
The inventory currently stored at police headquarters has been impacted quite significantly because of the type of facility that we operate and the environment they're in. So the new facility here at Fort Frederick provides itself a much needed space to accommodate the entire staff. And I speak of two major departments up at police headquarters being relocated as the first phase of the movement of the entire police headquarters operational support and executive arm to other facilities. So very soon we will see those two departments coming on stream for its operation up at Fort Frederick. I know we have to compete with a bit of space because of the operations here at Fort Frederick, mostly due to the tourist season. And I want to give assurance that it would not adversely impact the operations of the tourism sector. It is not a high traffic area for those departments that we're going to have service in this location up here. It's more or less our stores facility and another operational unit.
And finally in the news, 9 students from the T.A. Marisho Community College were awarded certificates along with other prizes for their success and participation in the 8th Chinese Bridge Competition. It is an annual international Chinese contest organized by Confucius Classrooms worldwide. It provides a platform for cultural and educational exchanges. This year's competition was held in June. Awardees included the students who captured the first, second, and third positions of the competition, along with 6 students who received the Prize of Excellence. Principal Ronald Brunton congratulated the awardees and commended their persistence.
The Chinese Bridge has become an important activity in the college's academic calendar. Indeed, this is an extraordinary event that arouses students' motivation to learn the Chinese language while simultaneously cultivating their understanding and appreciation of Chinese culture. At both the T.A. Marisho Tantine campus as well as the St. Patrick campus, all of our students have the privilege to learn the Chinese language. I am confident that the participants can concur that their preparation in the Chinese Bridge has broadened their understanding of their unique abilities and boundless potential as they strive to be winners. In the spirit of competition, you have had to be introspective to find your creativity, muster a greater sense of self-confidence, and channel your assertiveness to face the audience and be victorious.
Ambassador of the People's Republic of China to Grenada, Wei Hongsheng, says the competition is an indication of the friendly relationship between the two countries.
Today, I'm so excited to enjoy the wonderful performance of the Chinese song, music, dance, and particularly Chinese traditional martial arts, which I was so interested and used to have some basic training when I was a teenager 40 years ago. I want to thank all the performers for their excellent performance.
Here are some highlights of performances from the awardees: Deandra McKenzie playing violin, who captured the first position, and Vivica Alexis and Rebecca Bennett, who secured the second and third positions respectively.
你是岁月静好一个人记的天空，我是杨贵枝，就把你唱情歌。你是我这次来，你是我心之所归。
And now for a recap of the top story. Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell calls on regional colleagues to close the gap between the curriculum taught in schools and the skills needed for the job market during CXC's Ministerial Summit. And with this, we come to the end of the National Report for Friday, November 11th, 2022. On behalf of the entire news and the production team, I am Sherry Ann Noel, thanking you for viewing.